On the night of my 18th birthday, my mom cancelled my party because my brother threw a tantrum. My name is Nora. I'm 18 years old, and all week I had been telling myself this day would mark the start of my real adult life. Instead, I stood in our kitchen holding a tray of frosted cupcakes while my mom stared down at her phone, typing apology messages to my guests. It started that morning when my brother burst into the house, slamming the door so hard the picture frames on the wall shook. He'd planned a big road trip with his friends, long hours on the highway, loud music, and a concert he wouldn't stop talking about. Something went wrong. The car broke down. The trip collapsed. He came home angry. He didn't ask how my party planning was going. He didn't even glance at the decorations spread across the table. He just pointed toward the backyard, where I'd hung cheap fairy lights, and said, "If I can't have fun, then neither can she." He didn't say my name. He didn't need to. My mom went silent, like a switch had been flipped. Before I fully understood what was happening, she had already messaged my friends and relatives, telling them the party was cancelled for personal reasons. No one asked me. Hours later, the backyard was still decorated. The cupcake sat untouched on the counter. My phone stayed painfully quiet. No doorbell. No cars pulling in. Just my dad avoiding my eyes and my mom saying, "It's better this way, honey. Your brother isn't in a good place right now." That was the moment something inside me cracked. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even cry in front of them. I went to my room, closed the door, and started packing as quietly as I could. If they wanted a life where my brother's mood controlled everything, they could have it. I was done asking to matter. The strange thing was, I didn't have to do anything for revenge. All I had to do was walk away and let their perfect family image unravel without me. Before you decide I overreacted, stay with me until the end. What happened after that night turned one ruined birthday into the kind of karma my brother never expected. I was halfway through stuffing my old camera into the bottom of my backpack when my mom shouted up the stairs for me to come down. Her tone was sharp enough to make it clear this wasn't optional. I walked into the kitchen and found all three of them waiting, like a poorly planned intervention. My mom, Karen, stood with her arms crossed. My dad, Mike, leaned against the counter, forcing calm. My brother sat at the table like a sulking king, still acting as if the world owed him something. That was the first time anyone tried to explain why my birthday had simply disappeared. My mom looked at me as if I were the problem. She talked about how my brother, Ethan, had a terrible day. His road trip to the concert fell apart when the car broke down. He had to get it towed home. He was exhausted and stressed from working full-time at my dad's coffee shop. My dad nodded along to every word, like they had practiced this speech together. I asked one simple question: why did you cancel my 18th birthday without telling me? My mom sighed like I was being dramatic. She said she had texted everyone that I was sick, that I had a fever and couldn't host, and that it was better for everyone. You'll have plenty of other birthdays, she said. Your brother only has this week to recover. You need to think about the family. I just stared at her. In that moment, every time, think about the family, really meant, think about Ethan, rushed back. Movie nights where I sat on the floor or took the broken chair because Ethan's back hurt. Road trips where his playlist always won. If I suggested a song, it turned into a joke about my bad taste while my parents laughed. Last year, he got a brand new laptop for work. I got his old, slow one, with the comment, "His still works fine." You don't need anything fancy. All of that piled up in my head and landed right there in the kitchen. I asked, my voice shaking but steady, in 18 years, has there ever been a day that was actually about me? Ethan snorted and leaned back like this was the best entertainment he'd had all week. Oh my God, Nora, you're really making this about you, he said. I lost my entire trip. My week is ruined. Work is exhausting. And you're upset about cupcakes. That's selfish. This week isn't about you. I turned to my dad. What do you think? He wouldn't look at me. He stared at the counter and said quietly, I just want everyone to stay calm. Your brother isn't in a good place. A loud party would make things worse. We can make it up to you later. I laughed, though there was nothing funny. I'm not in a good place either, I said. Does that matter? Ethan cut in before my dad could answer. You're fine, he snapped. You always are. You're tough. I'm the one under real pressure. I work full-time, deal with rude customers, worry about bills. I deserve a break more than you deserve a party. His words from that morning hit me again. If I can't have fun, then neither can she. I looked at my mom. So because he missed a concert, I don't get a birthday. Is that really what you're saying? Her voice sharpened. She accused me of lacking family empathy. She said Ethan was more sensitive, more fragile, that he felt things deeply, and that I had always been stronger and more independent. It sounded like praise, but it was really a way of saying they didn't need to worry about me. I asked how lying to everyone about me being sick showed empathy. She replied instantly that she didn't want anyone bothering me or Ethan, that it was an adult decision, and that I didn't understand the bigger picture. The room felt tighter by the second. Ethan and I started shouting over each other. He blamed me for making the family tense and said if I would just stay quiet and let things go, everything would be fine. I told him this family had never been balanced and that I was done revolving around one person. Our voices rose until my mom yelled at us to stop and my dad muttered, "Enough," without actually taking a side. Right in the middle of it, the doorbell rang. No one moved. It rang again. Finally, my dad pushed off the counter and went to answer it, probably hoping it was something he could hide behind. I heard the door open, then his surprised voice, "Lisa? What are you doing here?" I stepped into the hallway and saw my Aunt Lisa, my mom's older sister, standing on the porch with a suitcase beside her, looking straight into the house. From where she stood, she could see everything, the half-decorated backyard, the untouched cupcakes, my red face, my brother slouched at the table like a storm cloud. She didn't need an explanation. One look told her something was very wrong. In that moment, I knew this night was no longer just about a cancelled party. It was the night things started to break open. Aunt Lisa rolled her suitcase inside and stopped, taking in the half-hung banner, the cupcakes, and the fairy lights still glowing outside. My dad stepped aside awkwardly. I stood in the hallway, feeling like someone had pulled back a curtain my family never wanted anyone to see. My mom appeared with a bright, forced smile. "Lisa, we didn't know you were coming," she said. Lisa raised an eyebrow. "I texted you yesterday and this morning." No response, so I thought I'd surprise my niece for her 18th birthday. She looked straight at me. "Happy birthday, Nora." I opened my mouth, but my mom cut in. "She's sick," she announced. "Fever and chills. We had to cancel. We didn't want you driving up from Portland for nothing." Lisa's eyes moved over my jeans and t-shirt, the lack of medicine, tissues, or even a blanket. "Sick," she repeated. "Right." My dad jumped in, rambling about how stressful the week had been, how Ethan's trip fell apart, how everyone was on edge. It sounded like excuses pulled at random. Lisa raised a hand. "I didn't ask you," she said, then turned fully to me. "Nora, what actually happened?" No one had ever asked me that before. Something in me decided to tell the truth. I said my party was cancelled without my consent. That my mom told everyone I was sick. That my brother came home furious about missing a concert and said, "If I can't have fun, then neither can she." And somehow, that sentence mattered more than my birthday. I told her it wasn't just tonight. I told her about movie nights on the floor, road trips where my music was mocked, the new laptop Ethan got while I was told I didn't need anything fancy because I was strong. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. When I finished, the kitchen was silent. My mom rushed in to fill it. She said I was exaggerating, that teenagers always do. She explained that Ethan was under pressure, that he worked full-time, and that they were just supporting him emotionally. "Nora's always been independent," she said. She doesn't need us the same way. Ethan scoffed, complaining that we were really doing this in front of Aunt Lisa over a cancelled party. Lisa kept her eyes on my parents. Supporting him emotionally, she repeated. Interesting. My dad shifted uncomfortably. Lisa, that's not fair. What's not fair, she said, cutting him off, is that for the past 2 years I've been sending you money every month to keep the coffee shop open. Rent, inventory, extra when you said you wanted to do something special for Nora's 18th. And this is what I walk into. My mind froze. You've been paying for the shop? I asked. Lisa softened when she looked at me. Yes. When the pandemic hit and the shop nearly closed, your mom called me crying. She said she didn't want you and Ethan to lose your home. I believed her. Then she turned back to them, her expression firm. I didn't agree to fund a system where one child's meltdown outweighs the other child's milestone. My mom bristled, repeating that Ethan was sensitive and needed care, that I was strong. Being strong doesn't mean she doesn't need support, Lisa replied. She looked at Ethan. You're 22. You missed a concert. That's disappointing. It doesn't justify cancelling your sister's 18th birthday and lying about it. He rolled his eyes and said he hadn't asked her for anything, that he worked hard, and that his parents did what was best for the family. Lisa let out a short, dry laugh. What's best for this family has meant keeping Ethan comfortable and hoping Nora stays quiet. I'm done paying for that. She took a breath. As of now, the money stops. No more monthly transfers. If you want to keep the shop, you'll handle it yourselves. My mom grabbed her arm, panic breaking through, talking about bills and employees. Lisa stayed calm. I'm not walking away from the kids. I'm stepping away from being your financial plan. You adults. Live with your choices. Then she turned to me, her voice gentle in a way I wasn't used to. Nora, I can't undo what they've done, but I can give you an option. If you want, you can come live with me in Portland. I have a spare room. You can finish school, look at colleges, and find a part-time job that isn't tied to this mess. You deserve a home where your birthday isn't cancelled because your brother had a bad week. Behind her, my parents started talking over each other. My mom was accusing her of stealing me. My dad kept begging everyone to calm down. Ethan muttered about betrayal. But it all sounded far away, like it was happening in another room. For the first time in my life, there was a door open that they didn't control. This night was no longer just about a ruined party. It had become a real decision. Stay in a house where everything revolved around my brother's emotions, or walk away and finally see what happened to their perfect family when I stopped holding it together by staying quiet. I didn't make a list. I didn't sleep on it. I didn't wait for the right moment. I knew if I did, I'd start minimizing everything the way my parents always had, until cancelling my 18th birthday because my brother was upset sounded like a small misunderstanding. So when Aunt Lisa said I deserved a home where that didn't happen, the words came out before I could stop myself. Okay. I want to go. The room froze. My mom's face twisted, caught between hurt and anger. You're not going anywhere, she snapped. You're emotional. You're not thinking clearly. We'll throw you a party next weekend. We'll make it right. You're not tearing this family apart over one bad choice. My dad raised his hands like a referee. Hey, kiddo, let's calm down, he said. Your aunt is worked up. We can talk tomorrow. You don't move to another state because of an argument. Lisa didn't hesitate. She's thinking more clearly than either of you, she said. And she's 18. This is her decision. My mom turned on her, voice shaking. You're trying to steal my daughter. You show up from your perfect Portland life, judge us, and now you're dangling money and freedom in front of her like a bribe. This is what you always do. You swoop in and play the hero. If I were bribing her, I'd have brought a cake and not cancelled her birthday, Lisa replied calmly. Then she looked at me. Grab what you need. Clothes, school things, anything important. We'll figure out the rest later. You don't owe anyone a performance first. Upstairs, my room felt smaller than it had that morning. The outfit I'd planned to wear was still laid out on the bed. Balloons sagged in the corner. String lights glowed around the mirror like they belonged to someone else's life. I packed jeans, hoodies, a few shirts, notebooks, my old camera, and a couple of books into a backpack and duffel bag. Every item felt like a statement: this is mine, and it comes with me. Downstairs, the argument kept going. My mom accused Lisa of turning me against the family. My dad asked for more time. Ethan muttered about drama and betrayal. Not one of them called up the stairs to ask what I actually wanted. When I came down with my bags, my mom's eyes were wet. I couldn't tell if she was crying for me or for the safety net falling apart. If you walk out that door with her, she said, don't expect us to be waiting when you decide to come back. We're not chasing you while you run off to play the victim. A few months earlier, that would have crushed me. Now it sounded like another rule I didn't need anymore. Okay, I said. Then don't expect me to keep pretending this is normal. My dad didn't hug me. He just stood there, hands empty. Ethan stared at his phone and muttered, unbelievable, like I'd taken his attention instead of choosing my future. Lisa rested a hand on my back and guided me out. The door closing behind us felt like a clear line being drawn. The drive to Portland felt unreal. Seattle blurred past, then the freeway, then long stretches of road and trees. At first, I questioned everything. Was I overreacting? Could I have stayed and made it work? Lisa let the silence sit. Eventually, she said, you know this isn't your fault, right? She said it like a fact, not a debate. No one in my house had ever said that without adding conditions. She didn't. She just let it stand. Her house in Hillsdale was small and warm, filled with real plants, shelves of books and cameras, and a spare bedroom she handed over without hesitation. It's yours for as long as you need, she said. We can change anything you want. The important thing is that you feel safe. That first night, we made burgers on the stove and ate on the couch, watching whatever I chose on Hulu. No one checked if my brother approved. It was so ordinary it felt new. Over the next days, my life shifted from reacting to planning. Lisa sat with me at the table, laptop open, helping me look at colleges, scholarships, and part-time jobs that had nothing to do with my dad's shop. Whenever I said, I don't think I'm good enough for that, she asked, who told you that? You, or them? It was uncomfortable realizing how many limits in my head sounded like my parents' voices. At first, my phone didn't stop. My mom sent long messages that began with I'm sorry you felt hurt, and drifted into explanations about stress, Ethan's emotions, and how hard parenting was. She said she loved me equally and insisted the party was cancelled because he was on the edge. My dad sent shorter notes, hope you're settling in, we miss you, never mentioning the lie about me being sick. For a while, I replied politely. Then the tone changed. My mom started talking about the shop, how devastating it was that Lisa cut them off, how fragile everything was. She hinted that if I talked to Lisa and explained they'd been overwhelmed, maybe she'd reconsider. She listens to you, my mom wrote. You're reasonable. Reasonable didn't mean they missed me. It meant they wanted me to fix things again. One night, after another message about how they couldn't survive without Lisa's help, I put my phone down. They don't miss me, I said. They miss what I can do for them. Lisa didn't soften it. She told me about the call when my mom lost her grocery job, about how Ethan was framed as the future, the one who would carry the family once the shop succeeded. That's when I realized I'd never been the main character. I'd been the backup plan, the strong one expected to survive being overlooked. The next time my mom video called, giving me a tour of the house like a guilt display and ending with, if you just talk to your aunt, maybe she'll help us again, I asked, if I came back, would it be because you want me there, or because you want her money back? She hesitated just long enough to answer without words. That pause stayed with me. It made me realize there was one thing they still wanted to control, whether I stayed gone or stepped back into the role they chose for me. That understanding pushed me toward the ultimatum I was about to give them, the one that would force them to say out loud who mattered more. Eventually, the calls and texts felt less like conversations and more like spam. Every message followed the same pattern: a partial apology, a long explanation about Ethan's fragility, and a reminder that the coffee shop was barely surviving without Lisa's help. One night, after rereading another message about how much pressure Ethan was under, I stopped wondering where I ranked and decided to ask directly. I typed, "If you want me to even consider coming back, Ethan needs to move out. He's 22. He can live on his own. I will only think about coming home if he leaves." Even to me, it sounded harsh. But I wasn't negotiating. I was testing them. I hit send before I could talk myself out of it. The typing bubble appeared, then disappeared. Then nothing. Not that night. Not the next day. For the first time since I left, my phone was completely silent. Meanwhile, my life in Portland kept growing in small, real ways. Lisa helped me get a part-time job at an independent bookstore with crooked shelves and a temperamental register. I stocked books, made recommendations, and went home smelling like paper and dust instead of burnt espresso and stress. That's where I met Jake, a tall engineering student who came in for a textbook and stayed to talk. When I told him I'd moved because my family was complicated, he didn't push. He just nodded and asked if I wanted coffee after my shift. A few weeks later, we were studying together at the public library, and for once, my world wasn't centered on my brother. One gray afternoon, we walked out laughing about one of his professors, and a chill ran up my spine. Across the street, a dark car was parked near the corner. Leaning against it, hood up, hands in his pockets, staring straight at me, was Ethan. For a moment, my mind rejected it. Ethan belonged in Seattle, not on a random Portland sidewalk. But then he pushed off the car and stepped into the crosswalk, ignoring the light and the honking cars. "Nora," he called. Jake's grip tightened on his backpack strap. "You know him?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "That's my brother." Ethan stopped a few feet away, glanced dismissively at Jake, then focused on me. Up close, he looked worn down and tense. "We need to talk," he said. "Alone? What are you doing here?" I asked. "How did you find me?" "Mom gave me your address and your schedule," he said. "She said you're hiding in a dusty bookstore and this library every day. They are worried. You won't listen to them, so I came to talk some sense into you." Of course they sent him when guilt didn't work. I took a breath. "If you have something to say, say it here. I'm not going anywhere alone with you." Jake stayed beside me, steady but not blocking me. Ethan laughed without humor. "Fine. They told me about your ultimatum. You'll only come home if I move out. Do you realize how insane that sounds? You're blowing up the family over a birthday party." Hearing him reduce my entire life to that made something in me go cold. "I'm not blowing anything up," I said. "I gave them one chance to put me first. Once. So what did they decide?" His jaw tightened. "They decided not to throw their son out to satisfy your ego. They chose sanity." It hurt, even though I expected it. It hurt because he said it like there had never been a real choice. I held his gaze. "So now what?" He stepped closer. "I came so you can stop this and fix what you broke. You're coming with me. You'll call Mom and Dad and tell Aunt Lisa you made a mistake." My wrist tingled before he touched me. The second his fingers closed around it, everything blurred. His grip was tight enough that I knew it would leave marks. "You're coming with me," he hissed. "Let go of me," I said, louder than I meant to. People nearby looked over. Before he could pull me anywhere, Jake stepped forward and pried his hand away with calm, controlled strength. "She said let go," Jake said. "Touch her again and I'm calling the police." Ethan jumped back, stunned. Then his shock turned into anger. "Wow. You're really calling the cops on your own brother because he tried to talk sense into you. You're not yourself, Nora. Lisa and this guy, he pointed at Jake, have messed with your head. This is her, Jake said evenly. You just don't like that she finally has support. My wrist throbbed. My heart raced, but the fear felt different now, clearer. You crossed a line, I said. You don't get to put your hands on me. Not anymore. Ethan scoffed. Stop acting like a victim. You're hurting everyone. Mom's devastated. Dad's humiliated. The shop is barely surviving. And you're out here pretending to be wounded. A few months earlier, I would have folded. Now, it sounded like panic from someone being told no. I didn't break anything, I said. I just stopped covering the cracks. He laughed harshly. You're jealous. You always have been. Mom and Dad need me. I'm the one who matters. Without me, the family falls apart. I met his stare. Then let it. The words hung there. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. He stepped toward me again, like being close might pull me back into the old script. Jake shifted beside me, ready. We're done, I said. Do not come to my job. Do not follow me. If you show up again or touch me again, I will be the one calling the police, and I won't hesitate. I turned and walked toward the bus stop with Jake. Ethan shouted after us, calling me ungrateful, accusing me of choosing a stranger over my own family, warning that I'd regret it. With every step, his voice faded. For once, I didn't turn around to see the damage on his face. That night, I showed Aunt Lisa the faint red marks on my wrist. She went very still, the way people do just before they lose their composure. He grabbed you, she said. Here in Portland. I nodded. I quickly added that Jake had been there and stepped in, and that nothing else happened. That didn't calm her. We should file a report, she said. At least have it on record. Today it's a grab outside a library. Tomorrow it could be worse. People who feel entitled to your body because you share DNA don't just stop on their own. I pictured sitting in a police station, explaining everything to an officer who might dismiss it as a family issue. I imagined my parents finding out and flooding my phone with anger. Part of me wanted that boundary drawn permanently. Another part of me was exhausted and didn't want them taking up any more space in my life. If he shows up again, if he touches me again, we go, I said. No debate. But for now, I think he understands I'm serious. Lisa studied me for a moment, then nodded. Okay, she said. But I'm holding you to that. 2 full days passed with no calls, no messages, no surprise appearances. For the first time since leaving Seattle, the quiet felt like real peace, not just the pause before another conflict. Then my phone buzzed with a long message from my mom. It started the way they usually did. We heard Ethan tried to talk to you. He came home very upset. We cannot believe you threatened to call the police on your own brother. This isn't who you are, Nora. Then the tone shifted. We've talked and prayed about your ultimatum, and we will not throw Ethan out of his home. He is our son. He is struggling. Asking him to leave so you can feel prioritized is cruel. We won't do it. My chest tightened, but I kept reading. It's become clear that you only want to come back on your terms and to punish us. That isn't love. That's manipulation. You've turned Lisa against us, and because of that she's cut us off. Do you understand what you've done to this family? We had to borrow money from friends to keep the shop open this month. We're humiliated after everything we sacrificed for you. This is how you repay us. The message ended with, if you choose to stay there, don't expect us to keep reaching out. We're done begging. We'll always love you, but if you keep acting like this, we'll have no choice but to let you go and focus on the child who still cares about this family. I stared at that last line until it stopped blurring. There it was, stated plainly instead of hinted at. We choose him. Not, we have 2 children and we'll figure this out. Just a clean sentence confirming what their actions had shown me for years. I waited for guilt and panic to hit. They didn't. Instead, there was a deep, steady quiet, like something finally settling into place. I typed 3 words back: thank you. Goodbye. Then I blocked my mom, my dad, Ethan, the family group chat, every number and thread connected to that house. My thumb shook slightly as I confirmed it, like my body was still expecting punishment. But nothing happened. No notifications. No fallout. Just silence. And beneath it, a feeling I hadn't known in a long time: whatever fell apart in Seattle from that point on was no longer my responsibility to fix. Blocking them didn't erase Seattle from my mind overnight. For a while, I still woke up expecting an unknown number and another guilt-filled message. It never came. The silence stayed, and life in Portland slowly filled the space. I kept working at the bookstore, learning the regulars and how the old register jammed if you hit total too hard. Jake and I settled into an easy routine of coffee, studying, and long walks through Forest Park, where the trees made my old life feel distant. One afternoon, while working on a scholarship essay, my phone buzzed with a notification from a cousin I barely spoke to. She tagged me in a post. It was a photo of my dad's coffee shop, but it didn't look like his anymore. The old sign was gone, replaced with a new name. A paper on the window read, "Under new management." The caption said, "Crazy how fast things change," followed by a sad emoji. My stomach did that strange mix of dread and relief. The comments filled in the gaps, people asking when it closed, someone saying it had struggled for months, another mentioning staff layoffs and a tense atmosphere before the sale. I didn't need details to understand. Without Lisa's support and with borrowed favors running out, the shop that was supposed to be Ethan's future had been sold to cover debts. A few weeks later, I overheard Lisa on the phone with another relative. I only caught parts of it, but it was enough. My parents were framing it as a business choice, but everyone knew it was desperation. They were cutting costs, selling off nicer things, surviving on pride and momentum. The family group chat that once highlighted Ethan's hard work went quiet. Some relatives sided with my parents, complaining about dramatic kids. Others slowly backed away once they learned why Lisa had cut them off. The perfect family image had finally cracked enough for people to see inside. Ethan followed his usual pattern at first. I'm not proud of it, but I checked his public posts through a friend's phone. He shared vague quotes about fake people and betrayal, talked about loyalty meaning nothing, posted a photo of an empty apartment labeled, "New Chapter, No Dead Weight." The comments encouraged him. Then the posts slowed. Through a cousin, I learned why. When the shop closed, his job disappeared. He found work at another cafe, but his attitude stayed the same. He argued with management, snapped at customers, showed up late, and eventually got fired. Without steady income, the credit card debt he'd built up caught up with him. He ended up sharing a cramped place with roommates, borrowing money, and complaining that life was unfair and no one appreciated how hard he worked. The person who once told me, "I'm the one carrying the pressure. I'm the one who matters," was now struggling to cover his share of the rent. I won't pretend I felt nothing. Part of me felt an uncomfortable satisfaction watching consequences land. Another part felt tired sadness, not for the version of him who grabbed my wrist, but for who he might have been if our parents hadn't made him the center and me the sacrifice. Meanwhile, my life moved forward. I was accepted to Portland State with a scholarship. Lisa and I celebrated with takeout and cheap sparkling cider, clinking glasses at her table while she told me how proud she was, not just of the acceptance, but of the work I'd done while untangling myself from a family that kept rewriting my role. Jake and I went to small music festivals and street fairs. No one knew my last name. No one cared who my brother was. On my 19th birthday, Lisa and a few bookstore friends put up dollar store decorations in the backyard and surprised me with uneven cupcakes. There were no lies, no cancellations, no moods hijacking the day. When it came time to blow out the candles, I realized I wasn't bracing for anything to go wrong. It was quiet, simple, and actually mine. Sometimes late at night, I still replay that first evening and wonder what might have happened if my parents had chosen differently. If they told Ethan, "We're sorry your trip fell apart, but tonight is about your sister." If they'd apologized without excuses or blame, would I have stayed? Could we have fixed things before they fully broke? I don't know. What I do know is this: love that only exists when you stay silent isn't love. A family that functions only when one person absorbs all the damage isn't healthy. When parents label one child sensitive and the other strong, what they're often saying is, this one will be protected, and this one is expected to endure everything. For a long time, I believed choosing myself made me selfish, that walking away made me the villain. But watching from a distance as their structure collapsed without me constantly holding it together, I finally understood something. I didn't break my family. I just stopped hiding the fractures that were already there. The point isn't to cut your family off the first time they fail you. It's this: pay attention to what happens when you say, "This hurt me." Do they listen, take responsibility, and change? Or do they double down, blame you, and expect you to keep bleeding so they can stay comfortable? When someone shows you that your pain is optional and their comfort is not, believe them. You're allowed to step away. You're allowed to build a life where you aren't the scapegoat or the background character. So if you were standing in that kitchen on your 18th birthday, decorations up, guests invited, party cancelled because someone else had a bad day, what would you do? Would you stay and keep trying to earn your place, or would you walk out and trust that your worth isn't something your family gets to vote on? I've made my choice. I'm curious.